Hi YouTube, I'm Neil Fox, creator of the Lucifer series, the voice for Lucifer, and I'm here to talk about, this particular video here is here to talk about a talk I put up, a Lucifer formatted video called, promoted as Beelzebub's Name. It's officially called Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson 2, all about G.I. Gurdjieff's Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson, which is a massive book. Hits you over the head. Heavy book. As books go, literally. Beelzebub is a Hebrew-derived word from Beelzebub, which can be directly transliterated to, of course, Hebrew letters that sign for numbers, and those numbers have archetypal significance in Kabbalah. And if you wish to decode the meanings of those numbers and their combinations, you can look at a book like this by Carlos Suarez, the Kabbalah Trilogy. This particular book is out of print, but one of the books included in the Kabbalah Trilogy is still in print. That's the Cipher of Genesis, and I mentioned that in the video. You can get that and learn the number code that way and apply it to Beelzebub. This is not the only book on the number code, and the interpretations of the numbers, sometimes they conflict, so there's always a discussion about that. But Suarez is the official Kabbalist of the Lucifer series. He was the inspiration for Balthazar, the character Balthazar in the Alexandrian Quartet by Lawrence Durrell, for those of you who are literary-minded. Anyways, what about Master of a Fly, or Lord of Flies? That's what Beelzebub means. Well, the only clues I'll give you are the clues that Gurdjieff gives you in his opening chapter, which is serves as the author's preface, The Arousing of Thought. Oh, and The Arousing of Thought you can listen to on Harold Coming Good, that came out recently. My page links to his, so you can go to my page and go to his and check out The Arousing of Thought on your own. Check it out in installments. It's probably be better to listen to in segments. In Arousing of Thought, G compares human curiosity with the behavior of blind flies. He doesn't dismiss curiosity out of hand. It has the value that sometimes the only way you can reach an ego about the unknown is to excite the person's curiosity, but the better way is to reach deeper into that person and pull them in from something, heavier and more real than just mere curiosity. Elsewhere in the book, flies enter into a metaphor of a blind man confusing a fly for an elephant, or an elephant for a fly, or something. And elsewhere, in another chapter, he jokes about American advertising having a person so confused they don't know if an elephant's really an elephant, or if it's not a fly, or vice versa. The rest of the time, he might mention flies. It just talks about them as pesky, noisome creatures, same as anybody would talk about a fly. He only mentions them in passing. So those are the only clues to flies you get. To that, I would add the Enneagram, which is a way of finding out what we are avoiding in life, what our egos are avoiding. Your ego is defined by what it is avoiding, and it is avoiding something so fundamental that it doesn't know what it is. Okay, what you think you're avoiding isn't what you're avoiding. It's hard. G compares the experience of the Enneagram with what he calls intentional suffering. He applies that word to other things, but in terms of the Enneagram, I just say no pain, no gain. It's like a physical workout. Physical workouts can be stressful, no fun. Sometimes we just don't want to do it, but when we're done exercising, we do feel better, right? If we've done it right. So enough said about that. I do think the word Beelzebub gets back to the Enneagram. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind when Jesus, Yeshua was what he was called, but the Yeshua calls him Jesus, and he said, "Take up your cross and follow me." Well, the Hebrew letter Tav, which stands for the number 400, can be represented by the symbol of a cross, an X-type cross. So you can interpret "take up your cross and follow me" as whatever else it might mean. It can also suggest "take up your resistance and follow me." And that has a lot to do with Kabbalah and Jacob wrestling the angel and becoming Israel and that kind of thing. resistance. Take up your resistance and follow me. Physical exercise is a matter of resistance. You know, the Enneagram is a matter of resistance. So that's as much as I'm going to say about this. And I've said more than I probably should, but I'm just trying to be helpful. Better question than why a fly is why the occult. And I'll tell you this, starting from basics. And the first to admit that the occult, studying hidden meanings, you know, occult means hidden. You know, this is like an index to Beelzebub. It's out of print too. And, you know, a third of this is the unknown words. And they can't all be as easy as what I've discussed with Beelzebub in that video. You know, hold off about that. It's only a Hebrew word that can be treated the way I treated that word in that video. But, you know, you get into all this, it can be no more than just like being stimulated by a challenging crossword puzzle. It can be just that, you know, much of a head trip. And I'm the first to admit that it can be that meaningless, all right? But when you're bringing a meditative practice to it, when you're on a path and you actually bring an energy and it becomes a channel for that energy, and you're engaging your analytical mind in this kind of stuff and bringing the analytical mind on board with where you're going with this, just uncanny things can happen, especially with your subjective experience of time. Things that you wouldn't believe. And I respect that you wouldn't believe it. That's why I don't share those experiences publicly. Okay? But the real value is that you're engaging the analytical mind toward a transcendental objective. All right? And it's not always in the way anymore, or not as much in the way. Most of the time, the analytical side of your brain is saying no to things and closing doors. And that's fine. That's its job. But if you can relax that and bring it up a little, you've got a level of focus and eventually a level of will, telama, that other people in the New Age and Wicca and elsewhere, the human potential movement, I just don't think they're as strong on that, usually, all right? You'll meet the rare individual who is, but mostly, no, they're not. The problem with all of this scene is meditation can create alpha and brainwave states and even theta states, and that's great, but it makes you very suggestible without being able to harness your ability to focus. It's too diffuse, and you become too open to manipulation and exploitation. I think the worst example is what Scientologists are put through, paying out thousands of dollars to someone who's generating an alpha wave state, you know, among them, and they like it for its own sake and get hooked on it like a drug and keep coming back and keep shelling out money, and it's tragic. Okay. Also, with the occult, there is a confusing side of its own, even when you're on your own, and that's that you can take a wrong turn. A lot of personalities need the support of a coven, and they're not always getting it, and those kinds of covens are rare and aren't as numerous as they will be in the future. Whitley Strieber, a writer who was he was for a time involved with Gurdjieffian thinking, and he had some experiences that I think he really seriously misinterpreted and got really very detoured with. I heard him on an internet radio show recently, and he's a very paranoid individual at this point. It's fear. It's fear. And it's sad. I don't judge it, but it's sad. So some of you, you know, it's just as well that you're just along with the Lucifer series or whatever. You're just along for the ride. You know, you're not ready for it, so don't get involved with it unless you are, unless you have your meditation scene intact and you're together with that. Okay. Peace. See ya.